What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Wednesday session. I'm really excited for this one. So the past few weeks, we've been going through Wraps 101, the mindset of success, just how to get towards doing this type of deal. Because once again, like it's all about the mindset. It's all about getting really focused, avoiding shiny object syndrome, getting really honed in so we can do deals, do them consistently, stay focused, build passive residual income or monthly recurring revenue so that we can slowly take the pressure off of our lives and have more passive cash flow coming in. And as you know, wraps, lease options, seller financing deals, and real estate are as passive as it comes in real estate. There's pros and cons to every single exit strategy. We love this one for many reasons that we've gotten into over the past several weeks, why we see this as the blue ocean in single family real estate, and also how you can start taking the action towards success. Because most of it is just really narrowing your focus, getting into the one thing, doubling down on a strategy that works, and doing it over and over again. Because every single deal creates $500, $600, $1,000 in passive residual income, passive cash flow. And as we do that, we start to take the pressure off of our lives, and we also start to create a little bit of safety in our lives. So we're having money coming in, there's passive income coming in. You can feel the pressure coming off every $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 we have coming in every single month, and we know it's coming in. It's a really good feeling. So today we're getting more into underwriting, deal structuring, finding deals, more around the mindset of success. And I'm really excited to get into today's call. Before we do that, I'm going to share just kind of like a little bit of the ecosystem of what we have that you can tap into. My goal with these calls and all of our other free content is to get people to where there's no excuses to not have success, right? When we can focus, when we can hone in, we have all the resources available to you, then it's just up to you to be the type of person that executes, right? Because we get to become the type of person that executes to create the life of our dreams. And so we have our free school community. So pop in here if you're not already in here. Most of you already are in here. If you are inside, the classroom has a ton of information. The foundations is one of my favorites. This is like really foundational around the mindset. It's based off of AI. It'll build out your wealth vision, the vision for your life, as well as it'll break down your freedom number. So this is the amount of money we actually need to make to live the lives of our dreams. And it'll help you break that down as well. So hop in here if you're not already in here, say hello. The link should be in the description of wherever you're watching this. And also on YouTube, we're putting out YouTube content every single week. So pop in, listen, check it out. We have tons of resources here for you. We have a lot of case studies from our students at Wrap Academy. Also, whatever you guys need, we put in here. I respond to every comment that comes in. So whenever people give us feedback and let us know what they want to hear about, I talk about those things. So hop in here, join our YouTube, subscribe if you like it, support us. And yeah, check me out on Facebook as well and come and join. So, all right, really excited to have everybody here. We already have some questions coming in. We will get to questions, but I'm going to go through our presentation that we have today. And then outside of that, if you guys have deals that you want to underwrite, put those deals in the comments. Also, let me know where you are in your journey. Have you already done wrap deals? Are you looking to scale? Are you looking to do your first ones? Are you currently doing real estate deals? My specialty is helping wholesalers stop wholesaling everything and start buying and holding properties. Because when we're doing wholesales, we're doing quick flips, and that creates active income, and it also creates higher overhead. And I've been in that rat race, and I don't want to stay in that rat race forever. So we help you to start easily transitioning, staying focused on what your bread and butter is, and then easily transitioning to buy and hold properties. Our other specialty is working with flippers to do the same thing. These are longer flips, but if you already know how to flip deals, we have ways that you can hold on to those deals and sell them as seller finance deals and 10x the actual returns that you have on every single deal. And so we are excited for this as well. And the final thing is we work with a lot of burnt out landlords because as a landlord, you know, it's not as passive. You're dealing with a lot of headaches. There are definitely pros of having properties that you actually own, depreciation, appreciation, debt pay down. But there's also pros of having a lifestyle that is enjoyable and not stressful. And so we help a lot of landlords. One of our people that we worked with in Kansas City he had about 50 houses as rentals in the inner city, and we helped him transition those into seller finance deals, and he turned his entire portfolio passive. I'm going to interview him here soon, put that on the YouTube so you guys can hear his story a little bit more. But these are the main areas that we focus in. It's creating not just the passive residual income, but it's also creating the lifestyle. We're all about lifestyle design. I want to build a business that has a positive impact in the world, that supports people, and also that makes my life the life that I want to live. And so we get to have all these things, right? We don't need to choose like I need to focus just on work and business, and then I build this giant stressful thing I don't enjoy. And we want to enjoy what we're creating, grow into the type of people that get to handle larger and larger tasks, and also build wealth over time while having a positive impact. And we choose to have all those things. So, all right. Without further ado, I can share my screen and we can dive into a presentation. So we will have time for underwriting deals. If you have deals that you want to analyze and underwrite, put those into the comments. If not, we'll play around some of my own deals or deals on the MLS as well. All right, cool. So let's get started. All right, so RAPS 102, finding deals, analyzing deals, and underwriting deals. So this is your next step. You have the mindset, you see the value in this type of product, you see the value in this type of exit strategy, and now it's time to understand how to find the deals, how to analyze them, and how to underwrite them. So in our week one, we had over 60 people came and joined and watched, which was awesome. It's like really fun to have so many people coming out and learning about this exit strategy. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Like this is a blue ocean. Blue oceans do not last forever. That's why they are blue oceans. At one point, drop shipping was a blue ocean. At one point, wholesaling was a blue ocean. Just remember wholesaling back when it was 20 years ago when no one knew how to do it. Like the thing is that when people don't understand how to do it and to do it at scale, that means there's less people doing it. Then once it's figured out, more people start doing it and spreading it, and then it becomes a red ocean, right? And then the next blue ocean will pop up as well. So life is full of opportunities. We always have opportunities available to us. Right now, this is an amazing opportunity. It's my favorite blue ocean in real estate. It's the way to build your first $5,000 to $15,000 of passive income per month by doing the strategy and focusing in on it. We talked about the market shifts, how there's a bunch of high interest rate properties that are sitting on market that no one knows what to do with. And we analyzed a few of those deals, and we saw that the wrap and lease option exit strategy still works even when there's high interest rates. We pass the high interest rates for our buyers. We still can cash flow $400 to $700 on high interest rate properties that are sitting on market. All the wholesalers are going after the 2 to 5% interest rate deals that are sitting on market. There's tons of properties that are 6, 7% interest rate that no one's going after. And these deals still work. So the opportunity is there and it's abundant, and we just have to take the steps and call people and find these deals. And we got really high level on wraps. We talked about why we love this exit strategy, who our target demographics are, what doing good while doing well means, why we built a business where we create an ecosystem of wins so everybody involved can get return on the value and also just be served throughout the transactions. And then we also talked about, yes, why this is a blue ocean, creating tier 1 financial freedom, which for me is the first step in life, like getting to that first $10,000 a month in cash flow. And now we've become more free within our lives. And no matter what we do, like there's always going to be challenge in our lives, and we're always going to be focused on that next bigger and bigger thing. But once you have $10,000 a month passively coming in, it feels very, very different. And so that is, for me, goal number one. And the really fun thing about the game of business is that as we build to that goal, we also build skill sets. We face challenges. We grow as people. We grow in our problem-solving ability. And as we do that, we become capable of handling larger and larger problems. That's why most real estate investors begin with single-family real estate. And most of them, as they go, they end up going into larger and larger asset classes. And the ones who start with large asset classes, for example, Donald Trump went straight to buying hotels in Manhattan, right? Like he went straight for it. And that's there's a certain kind of mindset, a certain kind of person that works for him. For me, I like doing linear while doing exponential jumps. Right. I learned the skill sets through wholesaling. I popped into starting to do these wraps and lease options. And then it's next thing. Because as my skill sets grow, my ability to generate wealth grows as well. All right. Okay, amazing. Just making sure my My technical setup is all good. Okay, cool. And the final thing that we talked about is the all-in mindset. So I talked to so many people and they're just doing this today and doing something different tomorrow. And they're just sitting on the ocean, just letting the ocean just drive them wherever it wants to go. Right. And that is not the mindset of success. The mindset of success is I am doing this thing, I'm taking the action towards it, and I'll figure it out no matter what. Right. When you have that mindset where you're like, no matter what, I'm burning all bridges behind me, I'm taking the action, I'm taking that first step, I'm putting my energetic, monetary, and mindset commitment towards this thing and going all in, that's where success happens. Because if failure is not an option, you will always succeed. And you see this in all the great stories. If you look at Steven Spielberg, he literally snuck on set in Hollywood in order to get his first gigs. He slept, I believe he even slept like under a desk on site. He snuck his way in. Same thing with Bill Gates. Bill Gates got some sort of offer and he said, yes, I'll do it and I'll build it. He hadn't even built the thing yet. He's already sold it. And then they had to figure it out, right? There's a really amazing book called The Third Door. It's one of my favorite books. It's by a guy named Alex Benayan. He's actually a friend of mine. And it's a really, really incredible story about how all of the people who were the greats became the greats. And the idea is that they all took the third door. They all took the door that no one else was going towards. They found a way. They had that commitment, like no matter what, I'm going to get it figured out. And they took action and went forwards. So that is a lot around the mindset and a little bit about myself. For those of you that do not know me, we've done over 200 real estate transactions over a little bit over 5 years. And we sold over 60 houses on seller financing. I have a mentorship community called Wrap Academy, where we teach people how to create tier one financial freedom through selling houses on seller financing. That is our paid mentorship. We also have a free mentorship in school, where we do these calls, other calls on my YouTube for free. I want to give as much away for free, so there's no excuses. When people are ready to double down, they hop into work directly with me, and I guide them through every step of the process to do this type of deal. So the answers as they go and they do it. So we sold over 60 ourselves on seller financing. Our students have sold over 60 as well. We've raised a lot of private capital. I'm a former backpacker turned into a real estate entrepreneur, and I was extremely scarce in my mindset when I first started. And then I slowly over time and through meeting people that grew my mindset grew exponentially over time based off of me surrounding myself with people that are smart, who are also very ambitious. So that's a little bit of my background. I'm by no means, the biggest out there, but this is what we've done. And like what I do is I bring people who are where I was a few years ago and help them to get to where I am now. And I also surround myself by people who are where I want to be in 5 years, and I hang out with them. So this is the constant journey, right? We should be with the people that are ahead of us. We should be the people at the same level as us. We should also have mentees and people that we work with as well. And it's a great formula for happiness and enjoyment in life. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. How's everyone doing? Presentation looks good. David has a deal that he's looking at. And Miss Toll is asking some questions about listing wraps on the MLS. We will talk about that in a little bit, Miss Toll. David, if we have time, we can look around to that if you're still on the call. And thank you, Courtney. All right. So next. So the importance of underwriting. If you've been on these calls before, you've probably heard me preach about the importance of underwriting, because I was a wholesaler for so long who didn't know what my buyers were doing with deals. I would sell to hedge funds and kind of understand. I would ask them a lot of questions, but I took the easy route and I found buyers who I could just work with and they can back me into deals. We actually had a lot of our wholesaling. We had a dispo guy that didn't work for our company. We just pay him 25% of the actual deal, and he would go and find all the buyers for us. He would handle all the buyer interaction. I would send all the deals to him. He would underwrite them for me, and then he would help me know where to lock properties up at, because I didn't really know. I didn't understand, what the mindset of doing different types of exit strategies was. And as I started doing buy and hold deals, at that point, I started to see, oh, okay, this is, they're doing a co-living or they're doing a long-term rental. This is how they're thinking about it. And if you go to California versus Kansas City, their mindset is very, very different because the investment strategies are very, very different. And so understanding the mindset of investors is going to help for you to become that next level of investor. And so I preach a lot about underwriting, right? Learning how to underwrite the deals, because everything gets easier when you know how to underwrite deals. You know what your buyers are looking for. You know what makes a deal, and so your confidence when you're talking to sellers and agents is way higher. And then also it makes wholesaling way easier because if you actually understand the numbers and understand the type of deal, when you're talking to your buyers, it makes that aspect of wholesaling way, way, way easier. So for me, like everything begins with underwriting. It all begins with that skill set. We have a free tool that we just built out for underwriting wrap deals. And I actually just got locked out of it, but I want to send every single person this tool who's on this call or doesn't have the tool already, because we have a very in-depth tool that we have for Wrap Academy, and I want to have a basic tool so people who aren't quite ready for joining Wrap Academy can use this tool and still be able to underwrite deals, look at them on market, and not have the excuse that I don't know how to underwrite. Like we want you to have all the tools you need to like do this type of deal, and then when you're ready to double down, come hang out. All right. So the mindset of success. So for finding deals, the first thing that we need to think about is that deals are everywhere. So anywhere you look, like there are deals. Like right now, there's so many deals sitting on market because the market is shifting. Foreclosures are higher, properties are sitting for way longer. There's deals. The deals are all around you all the time. I talk to people that find deals literally through their network. I know people that post in Facebook buy sell trade groups and get at least a deal per month, right? People use letter of intent blasters and blast them out, customize them, and find ways. When everyone else is zigging, you can zag. So everyone else is text message marketing to high equity list. You can find other ways to find deals. And the biggest mindset that I have around this model is that all you need is one deal per month. Maybe you even need one deal every 2 months, right? But if you can find consistently one deal per month, say on average, those deals make you $500 of cash flow conservatively per month per deal. You do that 12 times in a year. That's $6,000 of cash flow built per year. That's $6,000 of monthly cash flow built per year. So that means after the first year, you're now getting $6,000 a month coming in every single month. Say if you did half that, say you do one property every 2 months, very, very reasonable pace. That's $3,000 of additional cash flow built every single year. Do that consistently for 3 years, you are at a point of financial freedom. Okay, so this does not need to be a sprint. If you like to sprint, it can be. We've done a lot of properties per month before, and it can definitely be done. So there's different ways to structure it, but the mindset is how can I find one good deal to wrap per month, right? When you break it down to that, that's pretty easy. There's 30 days in a month, right? I take Sundays off, so there's 26 days in a month to spend time finding deals. And there's a bajillion ways to find deals, and opportunities are everywhere and all around you. And so all you need to do is find one good deal per month and do it consistently. And if you do that consistency, one of our students, Jacob, he has done consistently one deal per month for about 2 years. He's at over, I think, around 25 houses. He is over 10,000 a month in cash flow, right? Consistency. And he's not grinding 60 hours a week, right? He just focuses on this. So do this for 3 years at 18,000 per month in cash flow. That is probably more than enough to survive. If you go through our foundations course in our free school, you'll be able to do that foundations element and see what your actual freedom number is. And then consistency compounds. So yeah. So how do we find one good deal per month? Is the next question. All right. How's everyone doing? How are we doing in there? Okay. Bert Hall says, how can we find hedge funds to sell to? That's a major helpful to sell direct to hedge funds. Yeah, so Bert, I mean, I'm a huge fan of social media marketing for everything. I think that if it begins with like knowing what you want, if you know what you desire and know what you want, know what you're going after, and then you're very loud about it and talk to a lot of people about it, you'll find it. Right. So I found a hedge fund recently and I just posted in all the local Facebook groups about hedge funds, hedge funds, hedge funds. I reached out to people I know that used to work for hedge funds. And then through that, I found it. Right. It's like asketh and it shall be given, seeketh and ye shall find. Right. When we set our minds to anything and we go after it, then we're able to get there. All right. Shelby says she's ready to see some numbers. All right, cool. So we can do you have a deal you want to underwrite, or we can do one of mine if not, but we can look at some deals as well here in a minute, or we can look at David's. All right, cool. So anyways, be loud have the goal in mind. The biggest thing for me is like having that set goal. So have that set goal, have it in mind, and be very, very focused on it. Ask questions and find it, and you'll find it. All right, cool. Let's go back. So, how to find deals. So there's a few different ways to structure these deals. So the first question that we have when we're doing this type of deal is, how am I getting long-term financing in place? And there's different answers to that question. And I will drill this over and over and over again, because that is like number one. And so there's a few options that you have. One is buying from wholesalers, right? So we bought tons of properties from wholesalers using what we call the jacket strategy. The jacket strategy is we buy for cash, we renovate, we refinance, and then we sell our finance. I would say that's one of the more advanced strategies. If I'm a wholesaler, I don't want to go directly into the jacket unless I already have experience doing rehabs, or if I really desire to gain that experience, right? Because one of the biggest things is like, who am I as a person? What skill sets do I want to grow on? And how can I customize my business so it's aligned with my gifts and values and my desire to learn? Because when we learn things that we want to learn, it becomes very fun. So we did a lot of the jacket strategy. You can buy stuff too from wholesalers as well. And I think a big mindset shift as well is using wholesalers as a lead generation source. Like, don't look at a deal from a wholesaler and be like, oh, that's not a deal, that's not a deal, that's not a deal. Like, everything for me is through relationships. Because if you're looking for only one deal per month, then you can just find wholesalers, work with them, give them value, and they'll bring you properties first. You help them rework the deals, but find a few who are hungry and working really hard. If they're hungry and they're working really hard, they'll send you deals like, as they come across them. I know this because I was a wholesaler. The people that helped me and helped me back into deals, we sold them tons of deals because they helped me to know what I could get the property for. When I trusted them, I would go to them and send them deals before I had them locked up, saying, hey, I think we need to be here. And what do you guys think you can pay for it? And then I would say, I'd obviously negotiate a little bit with them and work with them a little bit. And then I'd say, okay, cool. Now I know what I can go and lock up the property for. So when you start thinking about wholesalers as lead generation, rather than just like, oh, I'm buying just from a wholesaler, then you can really dedicate your time to just working on nurturing wholesalers. I have a friend in Kansas City, and his whole business is around just working with wholesalers and nurturing wholesalers. And they come to him as the creative finance guy. And so you can work really, really well with wholesalers. Oftentimes, if you're buying creatively from a wholesaler, there's going to be an entry fee. If there's an entry fee, that's when you can start learning about leveraging private capital to get into the properties with that entry fee, right? And this is all stuff that we teach as well around private capital. We have tons of stuff around private capital and how to raise private capital, and I've done master classes on that before. The other option, going direct to seller, this is more if you're already wholesaling. Like, this is a more intensive way of doing these types of deals, is like you're going to talk directly with the sellers. That's more as if you're having a business around this. There are ways to do it that are less intensive. Posting in buy sell trade groups is one that I loved. I post in buy sell trade groups and find about a deal a month doing that. And there's other ways like talking to FSBOs and looking at Marketplace and seeing properties that are listed, seeing for rent signs in the area, calling for rent signs. So there's different ways to go direct to seller that doesn't require a giant marketing system. And then the final one is going direct to agent. I love working with agents, especially right now. I mean, agents are super challenging. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's always going to be a challenge. If you go direct to seller, there's challenges. Direct to wholesalers have different challenges. Direct to agent, everything is challenges, right? But direct to agent, we found a lot of really good deals directly to agents. And then oftentimes they'll bring us additional deals as well. So big proponents for direct to agent. You can use LOI blasters. You can reach out to them directly. But there's literally tons of ways to find deals, and you just have to choose one and get really consistent with it. Okay, cool. All right. So let's now do some analyses of deals. So if you have a deal for us to look at, bring it on in and we can take a look. If not, I can bring you guys on a prop stream and we'll look at some properties that are on market and we'll start doing this deal analyses ourselves. And let me grab my underwriting tool. All right, and it's loading. All right. David, you still with us? David has a deal in Kansas City. David, if you're still with us and want to give us more info on the deal, I could look at it. I would say off the bat, like I don't like to deal with 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom houses too often. If it is 100K purchase, 30K rehab, ARV 175, rents 1200. Okay, let's play around with this deal. All right. Boom. So let me share my screen again. And then David, if you're still with us, let us know a little bit more information. All right, let's look at one of these deals actually. So I went into PropStream before we hopped on here, built out some filters. So this, what I looked for is at least 3 bedrooms. I don't like dealing with 2 bedrooms too often, just because usually the market rents for them is a little bit too low. They're less desirable unless it's a really good deal. Davis looks like it could work because it was a very low price property, which means that the PITIs are really low. So that actually could work. But typically, I don't like to do 2-1s. I actually don't know if we've ever done a 2-1 with all the deals that we've done for a wrap release option. I feel like we did one and it just took a while to sell. So I usually don't like them unless it's a really, really nice deal. So MLS on market, yes. For sale, yes. I put at least 50 days on market. This isn't always necessary because if you're looking at low equity, then you can just look at anything that comes up. Because also like another mindset of reaching out to agents and working with agents is you need to follow up with them. I actually talked to a student recently and he was struggling to find a deal. And I asked, like where is the follow up happening? And the follow up was happening. He made the offer and wasn't following up. Like, dude, you have to follow up. Like minimum, like make a spreadsheet. I'll talk to agents 6-7 times before they're finally ready to do it. Because what you're doing is just like any marketing. Like if you notice, like whenever you see Facebook ads or other types of ads, it usually takes 6, 7, 8 impressions before you're actually going to buy from them. So what you're doing is you're planting the seed first. So first they have the seed of this is a possibility. And then every time you call them, you're just watering that seed, checking in. Hey, you guys get it sold yet? Okay, cool. So I let you know I'm still looking. I'm only buying 1 property per month. So, if it doesn't work, then maybe I can do it next month, but it's not guaranteed. I'm finding a lot of deals right now. So I just want to see if this was still on the table. Houses are sitting on market right now. Like there's a lot of motivation and people get to 60 days on market. The motivation goes really, really high. So even 50 days on market, we can also start nurturing them even earlier. For the sake of this call, I did it as 50 days. For the Midwest markets, I like to keep it inside that affordable housing range. So I said a maximum price of 275. Different markets are different. So this will be different based off the market that you're in. For Midwest markets, I like to stay in that affordable housing range. I would even go probably to 275 is fine. Oh, even 250. Okay. And then what else do we have? Equity down here. The value is estimated equity is a maximum of 10%. So right now I'm looking for lower equity deals so I can do sub 2. Okay. So we have 75 or 27 properties here. And I'll keep checking on the comments every once in a while. I'm just going to go ahead and fully underwrite this deal. Okay. So where do you want to begin? Let's go to the 66104 property. So let's pull it up. So this property is on Longwood Avenue. I know we sold a lot of properties in Kansas City, Kansas. I like Kansas City, Kansas a lot. I have one of our students focuses primarily in one zip code in Kansas City, Kansas, or maybe 2 or 3 zip codes. But he's very, very niched in. So he's very focused on what's going on, or very focused on the his niche. And like they say, the riches are in the niches, right? If you can specialize in 1 to 2 or 3 zip codes and just be that guy in those zip codes, then people will send you deals in those zip codes. I know this also because one of our people we wholesale to specialize in certain zip codes in the inner city. Very basic pricing. If it's 2 bedrooms, I'm 60,000 all in. 3 bedrooms, I'm 75,000 all in. 4 bedrooms, I'm 100,000 all in. Right. And so we knew as wholesalers, like this is what he would pay. And that made it really easy for us to send deals. All right, so off the bat, let's check out the property. So it looks like the garage is a little bit old. I do like that there's off-street parking. Yeah, there's something going on here with this driveway. So I'm not sure what's happening there. There's something wrong with this house off the bat. It's been sitting for 120 days. And so it's either overpriced or there's some issues happening with bad rehabs being done. So the garage looks a little bit janky, but nothing too problematic. The basement looks nice. I like how they painted everything. And I also like basements like this because it can create additional living space opportunities. And with that, it's appealing for buyers that like the backyard also. So it's a nice little property. 3 beds, 1 bath. Okay. Bedroom, dining room, bath. Yeah, it's the bathroom's gonna be very popular. So it's nice to have 2 baths, but I'm not scared of 3 bed, 1 bath. Okay. So let's go ahead and then let's see if we can see the information on the actual loan. Okay, Americasa LLC. So it was purchased for cash a while ago. It was quit claimed. Okay, can we see the underlying loan amounts, property details? Okay, I'm trying to see if I can see what the interest rate is. Okay, I don't see the interest rate, which is fine, which is nice when we are able to see what the interest rate is. They bought it for cash though, so they might not have a mortgage in it, or maybe they refinanced it. But for some reason, this property is not selling, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see if it's deal or no deal. How are the people? We still in? Okay, the people are good. If you have questions, ask the questions, post in the chat. I'll come check up on you guys every once in a while. All right, so we're playing the game of deal or no deal. So let's take a look. 3520 Longview. All right, so current market value. I would take a jump and say that the current market value is $180,000, just based off of I know the area, and it was estimated at 176 last year. It's been sitting for really long at 205, so I'd say approximately 180. Airbnb might be around that 210. Okay. So next step is going to be going to Rentometer. Oops. Checking what market rents are in the area. All right, so market rents are really low in this area. So that off the bat is problematic. So 1,200 is market rents. And let's check on Zillow to see what the taxes are. $2,142. Okay. Well, the insurance at 100. Let's say we're buying this at 200 sub 2. So we're not sure what the underlying. They say they have less than 10% equity, right? So this would probably be a good sub 2 at 5%. Actually, let me come back to this. Okay, 100. Okay, cool. So if it's worth 180, then let's go down here. 180,000 times 1.15. So this is going to be 15% over the current market value, is what we're assuming we can sell it for. No, it doesn't have it doesn't have the mortgage in place, is why. Buyer PITI. Okay, let's say that we had 200. Oh, okay, I see. Now I see why I'm confused. I didn't have the interest rate in there. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're assuming that we can buy the property at $200,000. So where would it have to be for us to make this a deal? So first, let's focus on the dispositions. Like, what can we sell this property for? So I see off the bat that market rents are 1,200, and so going way above 1,200 and 1,900, like that's a pretty big jump right there. So I and with the supply and demand in Kansas City and the amount of competition there is, I know that I don't want to be above 15,000 on the down payment just for this type of property in this area. And once again, every market is different. When we first started doing this, we were getting 40, 50, $60,000 down payments. And now we've taught a bunch of people. And so we have a lot of other people doing this. And so all markets work with supply and demand. And that's why each market, I call it unlocking a market. When we bring people into Rap Academy, like we work with you, we'll go and audit your business, and then we'll work on unlocking your market. Let's do 1, 2, 3 deals. And then once we build the groundwork in those different markets, we then have like the infrastructure for people to tap into. Okay. So 207,000. The biggest thing I'm looking at is this 1,900. I feel like we probably would have to be a little bit lower on this, not that low, but probably somewhere like right here. I would say that 1,700 is probably a lot nicer. Um, and then 207, I have no issue with. It's currently listed for 205, right? So maybe we could sell it for a little bit more as well. It's possible that we could sell it for a little bit more, but the biggest thing I'm looking at is this. So when we're doing these deals, there's a few things we're looking at, right? We're looking at the sale price, we're looking at the down payment, and we're looking at the total monthly payment. So as I'm looking at this, I'm really starting to figure out where can I give and take. Like for example, if I said like, hey, let's do a lease option, 10,000 down, keep it at 1732, that would probably work pretty fine, right? 1750, increase the price a little bit, and now we're looking at it could work. I know that conservatively, like if I had to go down to that, I could definitely sell it, right? Because it's a lot closer to the market rents, and it's also just very much so in the affordability area. And we want to be in that affordability range for a lot of these deals, depending on the demographic that we're selling to. Okay, so that would be a $200,000 loan at 3%, right? Are we getting that? Who knows? So let's say it's at actually 5%. And now if we got for 205 at 5%, so say we got for 205,000 with 5,000 down with our remaining underlying financing at 200,000. So we had 205, we gave 5,000 down, there's 200 remaining, it's a sub 2 at 5%. And we're playing around with these numbers, but we'll be somewhere. So as I look at these, I want to look at it in two ways, right? I want to look at it conservatively, and I want to look at like what I want to price it for. So what I want to price this for is probably right around here. That's 1750. So yeah, right there. So 1750. What I know I could sell it for, and what I feel like would be like if I had to fire sale it, I would go down to something like that. It would be like a fire sale, and I can definitely do it. As you can see over here, like I would not do that deal because these numbers are way too tight. It's the cash on cash isn't good enough. The numbers are too tight for the conservative. And then let's go back to where I was before, 7.7. Even at that, I don't really like this, because our upfront equity is 0. We got a sub 2, it's like low equity. And just because where the market rents are, and because of, I know there's something else wrong with this house because it's been sitting for so long. I imagine that there's something else a little bit fishy, or maybe it's just that driveway. I'm just curious why the driveway looks kind of grody and so does the garage door. There's a lot of space, it's only one bathroom. Yeah. So I would say that this for me would be a no deal at this price. But then we say, what would be a deal? So if we don't know their mortgage, so if we said at 190, at 5%. Now we're a little bit closer. If it's a 3.5% loan, this works for seller financing also. Even if you end up free and clear, if it's a seller finance deal, we can start working backwards to see like what we can offer to know. Then now we're getting a lot closer, right? 190 at 3.5% or 190 at 3%. Like now we're looking pretty solid with the deal. And so one thing you can look at here as well is you see that we're looking at the 7-year profit because these families will most likely, the families we sell to will most likely sell the house or refinance the house in 7 years. And so we want to know that number. But like for sub two deals, they oftentimes they never sell or refinance. There's that total profitability just catapults. It goes way up because we're gaining equity every single year because we're interest rate arbitrage. Okay. All right. I'm going to come back for questions. Okay. Cool. Okay. So the first question is what rentameter plan do I have? I pay for it. It's probably like it's very inexpensive, like 10 bucks a month or 15 a month. You can also do it on Zillow. I just rentameter is like easy peasy for me. I really like it. Okay. Second question by Shelby is how do you guess the PITI if you don't know the existing mortgage info? Yeah, so like we need to know the mortgage info, right? We're not going to know that underlying PITI until we know that mortgage info. So now, I was mostly just playing around with different scenarios because if you imagine that the property is free and clear, right? You just want to make an offer to a seller on seller like to buy on seller financing. Then you can play around with those numbers and adjust them. But we're not going to know what the PITI is unless we know that mortgage info. Often PropStream will show us that mortgage info. I usually use So oftentimes we can find that on PropStream. If I dug a little deeper, I'm sure I could find that on PropStream. I just didn't want you guys to sit around and wait for me to find stuff. But yeah, the mortgage info is super important when you get to that stage of the deal. You need to know that. But you can also underwrite a deal without knowing that and just know what your best possible offer would be. But yeah, great question. All right. Any more questions from anyone sitting on here? Does this make sense? Are you following? I know like the most successful people are the ones that ask the most questions. I've seen it time and time again with like mentees and people I work with, the ones who are like present, asking questions, showing up for calls, reaching out to me on WhatsApp. Those are the ones that get the results the quickest. So don't be shy. There are no dumb questions. It's a lot to bite off, And with all real estate, you're learning a new language, and so as you learn a new language, you get familiar with the vernacular, you get familiar with the numbers, you get familiar with the underwriting, and so it just takes doing it over and over again. And as you learn wholesale, now you're learning underwriting deals, and it's such a valuable asset or skill set to have. Okay. Nice. Cool. All right. Fun. Yeah, super, super good stuff. Are you guys enjoying yourselves? Is this fun? I love underwriting deals. It's always like really fun for me. It's like you're digging for gold. So what I can do now is I can do one more deal, and maybe we'll find one that does work. You'll kind of get another repetition and see. Once again, if you guys have deals, send over the deals. I like to look at deals, and I can look at deals as well. All right. Vanessa wants to play with the calculator. So the main calculator we have is just for our students. I built out a free one that I locked myself out of, and we're going to send it to you guys. If you join our school and comment asking for that free calculator, I will send you guys the free calculator so you can start doing these deals as well. Yeah, and then once you do a few deals, like come join us in Rap Academy, I'll give you the big one too. We had an employee work hours and hours on like building this thing out. All right, Bert, do you have more information about this deal in Utah? What I would need is PITI, mortgage balance, yeah, offer. Any of that would be helpful. In the meantime, while you look for that, we can play around PropStream and start like looking for deals. Okay. All right, so let's go back into PropStream, and now let's figure out a little bit about how to underwrite deals without going through that giant, like, long process. Because I can underwrite deals like with a tool like this in, really 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and get a good feel for it. So now let's look at just this analyze these a lot quicker. So this says the loan balance is 224 and they're selling it for 176. So off the bat, like this person seems very, very upside down. It's funny. I feel like I talked to this lady back when we were wholesaling. The name looks really familiar. All right. 3.69%, 224, 172, and they're trying to sell it for. So beginning next week, I'm going to start doing these. I'm just going to start calling sellers and talking to people because that's the next thing is just calling and talking to people and learning how to talk to agents and so on. Okay, so this is a short sale. Okay, cool. So what's happening here is this lady is doing a short sale. Um, could you take over this property? Not as a wrap. So off the bat, the interest rate is good. You can see kind of what the monthly payment would be, but you can't do this one as a wrap because it's too far underwater. But this could be one that could make sense as a rental if you get into it for literally $0 and it'll cash flow. So let's get organized here. 3 beds, 3 baths. I doubt it's actually 3,500 square feet. That seems really big. Not many photos. Yeah, it's also 1333 is the monthly rent in that area, which is really low. So these Kansas City, Kansas houses are lower on the rent. Okay. So not super excited about that one. Loan balance for this one's 188. They're 205, or they're asking for 205. Let's go to 66105. Loan balance is 157. This one looks like it could be. Okay. The picture looked like it was gutted. All right. So this is a rehab of sorts. Looks like it's freshly rehabbed. Okay. Not sure how long it's been on the market for. Maybe it shows here. .77%. 157, 716. Okay, cool. There's a 3 bed, 1 bath. All right, so 1,300. This one looks a lot more in the area, right? This is in the range. 1,000 of estimated loan payment and rent is 1,300. This one looks like it's very much so in range. All right. Let's make a copy of our tool. Okay. And then Bert, yeah, if you want me to look at that deal next, if we still have time, and we might be running out of time, you can go ahead and put all the details into the chat. Okay. 3 beds, 1 bath. Current market value. Let's pull her up. Wish I could see how long it was sitting on market. I'm not sure why it's not showing. 914 Kansas. $176,000 estimated value. Still not sure how long it's been sitting on market. I could go on the MLS, but it's okay. Okay. So a little more research can get us to see if it's like the level of motivation. So let's say 175 is the current market value. Based off of propstream, there's a loan balance of 157, 716. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's just one step at a time. So market rents are 1,300. We could always look at a little bit higher because we're selling on lease options and wraps. So I'll probably put that as 1,400 or 1,500, 1,450. Yearly tax is about 1,000. Nice, cheap tax. I'll say insurance. I always put insurance right around 100 for this price point property in the Midwest. And obviously, like as you go deeper into an actual deal, you'll get their mortgage statement, which is going to show you what their taxes and insurance are. Like right now, we're doing 80-20 quick underwriting. So, and another big mindset around like finding these deals is we don't, there's different personality types, and like certain people are very analytical. And it's funny because like the analytical people are so gifted and they have they're so much better at so many things than me. But like a lot of times analytical people get in their heads and they don't actually take the action. So like the analyzers will like stay and just play on the spreadsheets. It's like, no, we're doing a quick analysis, 5 minutes, then we're calling the person. Or I'd even honestly call the person before I do any quick analysis. Before I even talk to anyone, I want to see what the situation is. Are they even open? And then I'll start underwriting the deal. I just want to look to see first, like, so yeah, so I guess an important point is in my order of operations, if I saw this, is I would look on here. I would say, okay, 157, 1037. Okay, cool. That's enough for me to know this qualifies as a potential lead. My next step would be to call them. I would call them immediately. And in the upcoming weeks, we'll be doing that. So I'll call them immediately and then see like what their level of interest is. Because I don't want to waste my time underwriting deals where there's like zero possibility of me actually taking over that deal. I want to check the motivation, see the agent's receptibility to this type of deal, and so on. Okay. All right. So next. So let's say that we bought it for 175 and then we put 17,300 as the down payment. And then we took over the mortgage. I rounded, so bear with me. And then we took over the mortgage on the rest. That would be, a decent entry fee. And we can talk about how to structure this as well. So that'd be a good thing for this deal. And then it's at 6.77%. So it's pretty high interest rate. But those taxes are pretty low. So that gives us 1,200 PITI. They're estimating is 1037. So, okay, we're close. Maybe it'll be even a little bit cheaper depending on the insurance. And all right, so if it's worth 175, let's multiply by 1.15. And you put in the chat why we're doing that if you want to help yourselves learn, like why we're doing 1.15. Because we are adding 15% to the current market value. We are accelerating the appreciation for our sale price because we're putting the long-term financing in place for the buyer. Okay, cool. And here we are. So off the bat, like this, this in itself, so 9% is, we're usually selling them between 8 and 10%. If it is a sub 2, like we will go a little bit lower if we have to make the numbers work. So kind of what I'd be thinking here is I like where that number is. I know I can go a little bit higher. So at 1,450 market rent, I know this will probably be good at 1,800. Right. And a lot of this, like you can make a science out of it. We can kind of see like a lot of it's a feel as well. What is the desirability of the property? So I see off the bat, like it's not a beautiful house on the outside. There's no off-street parking. So, or it doesn't seem to have off-street parking that I can see. The kitchen looks fine. They say that the females always make the decision on whether or not to buy a house. There is off-street parking, which is great. Tell me if this is true or not, ladies. But I've been told this as we've sold a bunch of houses, and kitchen's a big thing. We've had some houses with bad kitchens before, and it takes a while to sell. Yeah, so I like that. I like that kitchen. Bathroom looks good. There is off-street parking, which is a huge plus. Like not having and that's actually a pretty decent sized lot. I don't know if there's any yard to this property, which is a downside. So we're missing a yard. So there's really no backyard. It just has this like giant parking area. But like the parking area is good for like a work truck, but it's not good for like a barbecue or for hanging out. So downside, it's only 1 bath is a downside. So I feel pretty good about 1,700, even up to 1,750, I would say is a really nice area to be. So I would push this sale price a little bit higher. I usually want to push the sale price as high as I can, just because that allows for us to create more equity, and I like having equity in these deals. And so so keep in mind, this is a 6.77% interest rate loan. So most people who are going after these deals are only going after 2% to 5%, right? Mostly like 2 to 4%. Anything after 5%, I'm not even touching. And this one is a 6.77% loan. And look at this deal definitely works. So this is what I want to price it for. If I had to go down, once again, like for me at this stage in my real estate investment, I'm fine doing a lower down payment as long as I can vet the buyers well. So I know that I can make it, like I can push it for something like this. So if I had to, like, worst case scenario, I could do it for that. And also like the cash flow is good. So it doesn't really matter, because I can play around with, and then the other thing is that we're gonna leave money in the deal, right? So we'll solve that problem next. So this, to me, I would say I like this deal. This is a green light deal. We've built in nice equity, and we're gonna be a little bit in the red, so we'll talk about that. And I feel very confident we can sell this deal. If we had to go down to 1,700, it would still be over $400 a month in cash flow. I feel good about everything about this deal. So I like this deal. Downsides is, like, the house isn't the most beautiful. So in exchange for that, there is, in Kansas City, there's a lot of supply. So I know I might need to lower that down payment a bit, but this deal would move. Cool. Okay, so then next, let me go ahead and let's focus on the actual seller financing. So if I had to borrow money for this, say I wanted to borrow money for this, I can make money at the closing. So we can bring private capital in. I like to amortize out the private capital over time, meaning that this is very similar to the slow flip method. So say we had raised $17,000. Say we raised $20,000, and then we raised it for 5 years at 12% interest. So that means after 5 years, we will have paid off this lender in completion, in principal and interest. And so what that does is it really hits our cash flow. And so our cash flow for that first 5 years, and most of that's going to pay back this lender. But we did make money on the front end. We have $32,000 coming in, and we only put $17,300 outside. And then after 5 years, our cash flow then goes up significantly. Our cash flow will then go back up to that 500. So this is a way to borrow money against your loans and bring in private money partners or limited partners and so on. And the deal still is profitable, but you're giving up a lot of that cash flow while you're paying off that lender. A second option for this, and I'll come back to questions, we're running out of time. A second option for this is you can do interest only. And so if you do interest only, that means, oh, sorry, that's the wrong loan for the private money. So if you do interest only, your cash flow now goes up to 325 because you're paying them $200 a month, and you can pay them interest only indefinitely if you get them to agree to it, and then they'll just get paid out whenever the property sells or refinances. So that's a way to turn this into, you're still getting 325 in cash flow, you're still actually making money. So you borrowed 20,000, got 12,000 down, so you can actually still make your wholesale fee or make a fee up front. You have infinite returns, and then you do the interest only, and then with that interest only, you are still cash flowing 325 a month. So pretty solid. I still like that deal. You're borrowing money against it. So with that, you give up a bit of your cash flow, but you get to make some money up front. All right, guys, we just went real deep. So let me know let me know what your thoughts are. There's so many ways to play around with these deals and to structure them, and it's just really fun. Like there's different ways to make deals when you know how to utilize private capital, how to utilize private money partners, how to find limited partners to bring them in, how to look at the deals, how to structure the deals. So this is all, it can be higher level. So I'm always a big fan of like get easy ones under the belt for the first three, but then like know that these are different possibilities, and like knowing that these are different possibilities that gives you the opportunity to start seeing deals where like you wouldn't see deals otherwise, because so many people would just look past all of these different deals. I mean, they just look past a 6.7% interest rate sub two with very little equity. Cool. Sorry, Bert. I know we did not get around to your property. Feel free to reach out to me directly, and we can see if we can find some time to hop on a call. Um, Straight Line Remodeling is asking, do you do much rehab on these properties to resell and finance? It's always a question of supply and demand. Our first properties that we did, we double closed because I was scared to buy properties and take them down myself. I wanted because it was my first like real estate acquisitions. We wholesaled a lot before we did this. And so what we did is we got sub twos locked up and we found buyers before we closed. And that was like the big way to structure it and focus on it. So we do have the jacket strategy, which I've posted about before. And if you want to know more about that, that's when you buy for cash, you renovate, you refinance, and then you seller finance. I noticed that your name is Straight Line Remodeling. So my assumption is that your skill set is in remodeling. And so there's ways to do this when you do remodeling and use that skill set to find deals as well. So this is, if you want to talk more about that, feel free to reach out to me. You can message me directly on Facebook or on School. And if you want to like chat more about like doing deals together, I can give you my calendar link also. Cool. But yes, if your skill set is in remodeling, there's ways to do remodeling. If you're just buying straight sub two, you don't have to. You can go to the property and clean it out yourself. You can do them as is. But in Kansas City now, this is like the main market that I buy in, which is probably one of the most competitive markets in the country for this exit strategy at this point. We clean them out now if it's a sub two, or we're going to do a pretty low down payment, just because of supply and demand. Okay. Mark said mindset shift. I've done a lot of underwriting before even finding out the seller or agent's open to a creative offer. Yeah, for sure. Like without a doubt, like the biggest thing is just making that phone call. And like I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I do take massive action. And I think for me, like the massive action and just calling them. I don't even know what I'm gonna say half the time, but just like call them, check in, see what's going on, and then if you feel like it's worthwhile, then underwrite it. And that way, and then keep track of the leads how you want to. Like if it looks like it'd be a good lead, you can just follow up with them later. But I'm not underwriting a deal unless I'm like ready to make an offer. And I'm not making an offer unless I feel confident that the agent is going to take that offer seriously. Cool. So PropStream, Rentometer, and underwriting tool are a great place to start. Yes, this is enough and a good place to start. For PropStream, I have a link in the description here that'll give you a free trial on it, so you can use that. And cool. All right. Oh, we got Joshua Ferris in the call. We got a vet. Joshua says, I'm looking at sandwich lease options for the high interest deals, minimal option fee to lock them up and get to market them and see the response. Yeah. So one of our students does this in a lot of markets. He's doing a sandwich lease option. And so we'll end this in a few minutes, but like the idea of a sandwich lease option is very similar, but you're buying on a lease option and you're selling on a lease option. Right, so I'm buying for $100,000 with a $5,000 option fee, paying $1,000 a month. I'm selling for $150, $10,000 option fee with $1,500 a month. Right, and that way you have two options. You're paying one and you're receiving the other, and so that gives you a good prospect of buying that house later on. You can refinance. Sandwich lease options are also really cool. Yeah, and I like the idea, like when I'm testing a market, like I want to test the market in like the lowest risk way possible. So like marketing the property while still under contract is I'm a big proponent and big fan of that. Cool. All right, one final question, and we're going to end it off for the day. Do you always go through agents or ever contact sellers directly? In my real estate career, we have done many things. We started as wholesalers, so we did a lot of direct-to-seller outreach, direct-to-seller marketing, talking to a lot of sellers. I've done agents a lot as well when I was focused on finding creative finance deals because I wanted to find more creative finance deals. And agents are a really good way to do that, especially right now. Like right now, the market is shifting. I say this like so many times, so many opportunities for creative finance deals. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you to all the people that stuck through to the end. Please message in the comments if you have one takeaway from this call. If it's any one thing that you're going to take away from this call and implement, put that in the comments and let me know what that is. Next week, we're going to start doing more live calls. So I will get it set up where you guys can bring me deals. If you want me to talk to agents or want me to talk to sellers, I will call them. I will talk to them. I'll underwrite the deals live. I'll talk to the agents as well, so we can start finding and calling the actual deals on market to get a hold of these agents and start working on the actual acquisition side of the business as well. So once again, thank you guys for coming. I don't take it lightly that you guys spend an hour hanging out, and I hope this is valuable. If it is valuable, feel free to share it with your friends, post on it, subscribe on YouTube, join our free school community. Let me know. It's very motivating to know this is like valuable for people. And also, if you wanted to get more serious about this model and join our the mentorship, Wrap Academy, reach out to me. You're welcome to join. And if not, like there's tons of opportunities available. My biggest push for this call is get the focus down, get the commitment down to it, and like do this 3 times. Cool. All right. Awesome. Mark said, I've done several with low risk by getting an option to buy from the seller and then going market for the buyer. Yep. That's a great way to do it. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone. Until next time, I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.